My name is Ron Grotlucian, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Ministry Expansion Campaign Luncheon today to gather some more information that we have to share with you. And also, I'd like to start off first by introducing a couple groups to you. If any of the LMB members are here, if I call up your name, if you just stand up briefly. Alan Meyer, Alan Poncini, Bruce Rosenthal, Greg Bestie, Adrienne Sutton, Andrew Baselli, Pastor Jeff. Thank you. And then I'd like to introduce the campaign directors and managers, coordinators. So for campaign directors, it's myself and Alan Meyer. We have a LCEF campaign consultant, Pastor John Glover. And then the pastoral team, which is all the staff, and they're led by Pastor Jeff. We have a campaign manager, Betty Anton. Communication manager is Sandy Tigner. Prayer coordinators are Greg and Kathy Bestie. Connection coordinators are Bruce and Brenda Dornsife. Finance coordinator is Dave Grant. Hospitality coordinator, Fred and Lonnie Goulet, who put together this luncheon for us today, so we do appreciate that. And then I'd like to give a thanks to Pastor Paul for the design of our campaign logo. So appreciate him taking the time to put that together for us. So today we'll be presenting some information, some feedback on the land and lease meetings we had back in August, and then some movement that's taken place since that time will be shared also. At this time, I'd like to say a prayer to open up our session. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon Island Lutheran Church, and to give us an opportunity to move forward and sharing the joy of your salvation through Jesus Christ across our community and through the online community. We have been working toward this goal for some time, and as Pastor Paul mentioned this morning in the sermon, some prayers are answered yes, some are no, and some are later. Well, we've been waiting for this, and we're going to move forward with it, and we appreciate your guidance and how we move forward. We want to make sure that we're always led by the Spirit in how we move, and that we go in guidance from you. In your name I ask this, amen. At this time, I'd like to have Alan come forward and present some of the slides.
And we got a great reminder this morning that that prayer was heard. Thank you, Paul. Okay. Yeah, is there a clicker? No?
No, that's all right, I'll do it. There you go.
All right, figured that one out. Not that dissimilar than in church sometimes. All right, land and lease meeting feedback. So this is kind of an informed stage. We're informing, and there will be a chance at the end for question and answer, but there's also some sheets on your table. If you want to write down your question as we go along, you may do that. So we had the land and lease meetings. We had 8 meetings. How many of you had the opportunity to join in at least one of those meetings? Wow, is that great? We listened and we heard a lot. There were, as I said, 8 meetings. We asked 3 questions. Why? What? And where? We already know the who. The who is led by the Spirit. He's using us as his instruments. So, why? There was a great deal of consensus in the answers we received from you during these meetings. So the why. The why included a number of things, but preponderance of responses was, now's the time, property's not going to get any cheaper. We, as a congregation, voted to follow the multi-site ministry model. That's the why. So what? And you all had great ideas about what will this look like? Lease? Land purchase? And finally we said when. Well, the easy answer is when we're led to do it, but now is the time that we're hearing from you to do it. So the when is let's begin. Let's go after it. Let's see what we can get done through the Spirit. So the goal of the lease, build the core. So we've got a strong core, and it's all here. But we need to build a core at another site. And that's the goal of the lease, to get started, to begin to have some of our members build the core at another location. The goal of the land purchase, one church, multiple sites. Site here, site on the mainland, site on the internet. So we're talking 3 sites. Got some exciting news about the lease. We are looking very positively at being able to use some of the facility at the Bluffton High School. It's a performing arts center and cafeteria. So that seems to be very close. Numbers still haven't all been worked out. Pastor, did you want to?
I'll deal with any questions.
In the questions? Okay. Very good. So that's the first thing. Lease at the high school, praying that that works out. Update on the land. Deacon Dave has looked at how many properties?
30.
30 properties. And this one came up, and we have put in a letter of interest and earnest money, and we won't know about this one probably for 3 months, but at least we're showing a strong interest in having conversations. And this is on 170. If you know where Riverwalk is on 170, or Grace Coastal Church, you know where those are? It's a little further down from that, but very close. There's an elementary school there. This would be adjacent to that or across the street from that. So it's an exciting opportunity, 20 acres, 20 feet above sea level. So that's the land and the lease where we are now. Nothing's guaranteed, but we're working diligently on both of these to see what can come. Then, online. We continue to receive feedback from our online community. People are participating, they're sending in messages, and we're working to make that even more dynamic. So we look forward to what can happen there. Pastor announced that some online community members are actually going to join our family. That's exciting. So we are reaching. We have 4 Bible classes with participants online, and a ministry plan for online ministry is being developed that will be implemented next year. There's the logo. Let's thank Paul again for that. What do you see there? Anyone? Shout it out. Bringing Jesus to people and people to Jesus. Thank you. Very good. And it's the people thing, because we're going to share the joy, but you have to share it with others. The theme is sharing the joy. Right out of Luke 2:10, the angels. Great joy should be to all people. Bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Fits right in with where we are and where we're going on this. A couple things you may want to note in your calendar in terms of a timeline for the campaign. October 19th, oh, that's today. I think we're going to need a bigger fellowship hall. In November, we're going to have inspirational Sundays. So we have an inform phase, an inspire phase, and then a commitment phase. So the sermons in November will be about inspiration. December 14th, we're going to have a special day of worship. It will be the day when we as a congregation, being led by the Spirit, will commit to supporting this ministry expansion. That is going to be a wonderful, exciting day. So put it on your calendar. You're not going to want to miss that. And then for the next years, we're looking to fulfill what we committed to do. So those contributions and commitments will be taken and hopefully fulfilled through the year 2028. So, we want to open it up. This is an informed phase. We want you to ask questions.
Could I?
Yeah, you have. Of course you could.
Thank you. President, first of all, will you help me thank God for both Ron and Alan? They're the co-directors. They've done a great job of leading us so far. What I'd like you to do is, while I'm getting wired up, and I want to make sure Dave's close by, and Andy, because they're going to be of help, could you spend some time, undoubtedly, maybe there's some questions you've got right now, or just your impressions. What's going through your mind? Spend a couple of minutes at your tables. We'll be right back at you. For those that are online, I'm going to encourage you to think, hey, how can I ask questions? If you would, I'm going to give you a moment. And if you would, just... again, write your questions down and text them to my cell phone, and we will deal with your questions as well as the folks that are here. By the way, I heard that anybody remember Neil and Janet Springer? Let's all say hi, Neil. Hey, Janet. Yeah, and Jerry and Barb Hertig, who are in Lifelight and other things, they're joining the church. They're in Texas. Say, hey, Jerry. Hey, Barb. So this is the number for live stream. I feel like I'm doing one of those infomercials. You don't need to read it. They need to read it online. 262-707-9197. Again, for those that are online, if you have questions, 262-707-9197. Go ahead and take a few moments at your table and talk, and we'll be right back to answer some questions.
I have a request. On each table is an attendance sheet. If you could fill that out, that'd be very helpful.
Oh, that would be very helpful as well. Yeah, make sure you fill out your attendance sheet at your table. Thank you.
And also, I've been informed by the chef that there is plenty more lasagna. Please help yourself.
All right, Steve has a microphone. And one of the things that, for those of you that may be guests, or those of you that are still trying to understand how our structure works at Island Lutheran Church, if you just allow me just to share a couple of points. Our congregation is bound by the Constitution and bylaws. That dictates having voters' meetings. That dictates who does what. And so therefore, the voters ultimately have to make, if you will, the big decisions, like calling church workers, like expending resources, and those type of things. The budget, those are all congregational matters. The congregation confers authority to the board, and the board is elected by the congregation, and the board then serve as trustees. And they create, if you will, policies. Some of those policies are result policies. This is what we want to happen. This is what we expect you to do. Those are handed to me. They also create policies that say, you can't do this, you can't do that. You are welcome. I would highly recommend, if any of you would like to see the board's policies and the board policy manual, they have policies that govern their behavior with each other and their interaction with the staff. And so, in some respects, unlike many of the churches we grew up in, which were council-led, who were highly involved in the day-to-day, this frees up the board to actually link with the congregation and link with the community and discern what God has in mind, strategic planning. Quite frankly, we're blessed because the people that are serving are willing to take on that and make sure to monitor the actions of the staff and the congregation. We wouldn't be having this conversation if the congregation hadn't, like Alan referenced, agreed and said, we don't want to be a large campus church. Though I have to say, 20 acres, we could just sell this property. And by the way, if we did sell this property and move out there, the first one to go crazy would not be you on the island. It would be our district president. He personally came to me and said, there is important ministry on this island. So if anyone has it in their head, that's not, we said, no, we're not doing that. We also said, could we go to a house church model? No, we're not going to do a house church model. Our previous district president said we would be perfect for that, out and about, having little homes all the way to Beaufort and having lay deacons all over the place. But we said, nope, we're not doing that. We talked about birthing a church. Some of you were from a church where you had a mother church that birthed another church. And we said, no, we're not going to do that. We adopted the multi-site model, which means you have one governing authority with different sites, shared resources. So when the congregation approved that, then obviously that work has been going on for over a year. We would not have Andy here if the congregation hadn't said, we want to call a ministry expansion pastor. So it may seem like it's come up on us, but every step along the way, the congregation has been involved in these types of conversations. Ironically, and I don't want to put him on the spot, though he did give me permission to put it in the booklet, some 20 years ago, I don't know if Pat was there, but Carl was sitting talking with Pastor, he was the interim. Quorum. I thought Dorth was a hard name. Yeah, so anyways, Carl and Pastor were talking, and this was in the early 2000s. And Carl said this church would be ideal for a hub and spoke model. Can you imagine that? And by the way, Barbara English told me today it will be in December, 40 years from the very first meeting. And so we are working in the path of those who've worked before us. My point is, we've been in this for a long time, and now we're at a place that we have support from the district, we have support from the synod, we have partnership, and God has led us to as I frankly can say, I can't see of any better time for a church to take the step than where we're at right now. And I'm very, very humbled that we get to do this important work together. Most churches are floundering, dying, and we have a chance to do something amazing. And there have been some great steps that have happened since the last gathering this summer. So these updates, you can ask any question. There's not any question that is off the table about the campaign or about the land possibility, the lease possibility, or the online ministry. So with that said, and I have people here that know these answers better than I do, does someone want to start us off? Who's got a question for us? Yes, all right, we got one up here. And this goes for you online. I have my phone at 262-707. You actually thought I was going to check the Bears score, but no, that's not what I'm doing. So 262-707-9197. All right, and tell us who you are. Put the microphone this way. Thank you.
Kurt Landsberg. It seems to me when we started down this path, we set aside about, I think it was $500,000 towards our ministry expansion. And I know we've used some, I think we're using some of that to pay Pastor Andy.
And other things. Yeah.
Other things.
Yeah.
And I'm curious kind of where that fund stands at this time, because we probably have also gotten some gifts along the way.
Yeah, that's a great question. Dave, could you make your way to the microphone? Could you all help me thank God? I've had a number of pastors in the district that are trying to steal them, but for our volunteer church administrator.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Right now, at the end of September, we had $472,000 in that fund. And that does not include the recent gift that we received.
Okay, and we are receiving funds, gifts, and so this will be, if you will, this fund will be the beneficiary of the campaign, the Sharing the Joy Ministry Expansion Campaign funds. Good question. Other questions?
Can I ask one, just add on to that? For the local, this building, we have $44,000 in the fund, which is separate from the budget.
And by the way, this is, I'm getting to know my partner here. This is the guy who is just the numbers guy. And that was his polite way of saying, don't forget this fund. Right, Dave? And I only say that to you, were you aware that we had a $109,000 expenditure?
Well, we had over $90,000 to replace the roof.
And that had to come out of that fund. And then we had expenditures on a couple of air conditioners or?
One HVAC system this year.
So it gives people an opportunity to give toward what I would call in my old life, capital, deferred maintenance type things. That's on this campus. We want to make sure to be whole and continue to do healthy, good work here, but also then to have resources for ministry expansion online and over on the mainland. And yes, the board freed up $5,000 for earnest money, which I smiled and said, it must be a church. Only a church would put down $5,000 on a purchase price, but that's what we're doing. So, other questions? Anybody have a question? Yes. All right, bring the mic up here if we could. Tell us who you are and shoot away.
Carl Miller. In previous meetings, including meetings out at Okatee, we've been talking, or it's been mentioned, there's plots of 6 acres, 10 acres, 12 acres. Why something as large as 20 acres? And what do you envision doing with that?
It's a great question. We'll let Steve have that. I'm going to let Dave give his perspective on this because, quite candidly, Dave has been working with 3 real estate agents, and I'll let you go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, Pastor Andy and I have been doing a lot of work on this. We've looked at roughly 30 different pieces of property, and the prices, we stipulated roughly between 8 and 15 acres. We changed that a little bit. The price per acre was roughly $170,000 on average. When this property came up as 20 acres, the realtor and I saw it online, and we said that we would be interested. What we do with it in the future, if you look at the price that we've offered, which was the asking price, and their willingness to talk to a church, the sellers are very interested in potentially a church being there. It's a plot of 20 acres, but the value of it was actually less than some of the other properties that we have been looking at. We didn't put any other letters of intent forth. This came up very quickly in September, and we needed to jump on it right away. We are having a Zoom meeting with Lutheran Church Extension Fund, the real estate expert, this week. We've talked to him once already. So it'll be interesting to get his perspective on this piece of property.
So, and if I could add on to this, so actually the price of this was equal to a lot of the property prices that we looked at that were more in the tune of 6 to 10 acres. So this is zoned agricultural, which actually is good for us. Some of the other zonings, when they're already zoned commercial, it's very difficult and they want top dollar. We are looking at another property that they have, they're pursuing us, so we're not closing the door. However, Alan shared with you, that the board was listening. Do you know that I went to all 8 meetings, and when the question came up, where? Do you know what the most common response was? 278 and 170. It just every time, 278, 170. And then to have a property that is 20 feet above sea level, a half a mile from there, and that is has frontage. If you know, is it called Grace Coastal? So it has frontage. It's literally right down the street from Grace Coastal, and right next to an elementary school. And the county is in the process of developing. We're not at liberty to tell you what they're developing, but the adjoining 50 acres is going to be a family-oriented, community beneficial use. And that's as much as I can tell you, but I can tell you they like the idea of having a church next door. So there are other churches on that row. And so from my background, I can tell you, having gone down this path, believe it or not, the government leaders like to put stuff together close to each other. Thus, if you want to throw a rock, you probably hit one of the churches in the area right here. So it's a very good question. We cannot get our hopes if the next time you see Amber and Will Cole, little Amber who sings, and she is battling some very challenging health issues right now. She has been working for us really hard. Dave, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I want to speak to that, and we do have an attorney at this point, and we're going through due diligence to take a look at the property, make sure everything's in order, and that's going to take 90 to 120 days. So there are 3 other bidders. Right now, just last week, we've been told we're number 1.
Which, by the way, when we started this process, do not get your hopes up. They gave us about a 20-25% chance of even being considered. They've now moved us from number 3 to number 1. So, Lord, have mercy. Yeah. All right. Is that helpful? Carl, do you want to follow up, or are you good? Here, hold on. Let's go.
The Lutheran Lending Fund.
Yes.
They're on board with this whole project?
That is such an important question. So I'm going to let, again, in case you're wondering, first of all, we had to have someone designated as our signer to enter into a letter of interest, a letter of intent. Who do you think is the signer? So if you want to pray for someone, pray for Laura. Now, and again, I want you to hear this because the pastors are going to come and go. As Carl and I were laughing, every pastor has served a different role here. And the beautiful gift is you all are very capable. So Dave has been handling not only the signee on these very significant contractual relationships that we're talking about, he is also in the partnership relationship with the Lutheran Church Extension Fund. I happen to have my own ties to them, but Dave is the liaison. So Dave, do you want to deal with the question?
Well, part of what you were asking me, we were already having a relationship with LCEF. We've got funds invested where we get interest. The consultant that Jeff talked about is from LCEF, basically ministry expansion. And the one that I'm talking to most has been basically the land expert. He's a vice president of the land options. So Pastor Andy and I have talked to him maybe 6 weeks ago, right after Andy started. And at that time, we decided we didn't have enough information. Now, with all this information that we have, we're going to have another Zoom call with him this week with Pastor Jeff, Pastor Andy, and myself.
One of the reasons we went with the consultant to deal with the campaign, we chose them because Lutheran Church Extension Fund, because they give you a 0.5% off your loan, which is good. I would like to say no loan, but guess what? Loans are maybe all right. We might need to get a loan if it allows us to get a loan for ministry, as long as we keep a balanced approach to making sure we're appropriate, we're in a good place. So there was a question on the table, and so let me deal with this, and then while you're walking back to the back corner there, was the expansion part of Pastor Jeff's call document? In other words, was expansion part of the long-term goal? So the truth be told, there was nothing in my call document that declared that there was going to be a required expansion. However, in the call process, one of the things that the call committee and the leadership talked to me about was that the congregation had in the past tried to do something on the mainland, and they were looking at me because we had started a site at the other church, so I've been down this path. It wasn't in the ink, but I think it was in the spirit. And so was it part of the long-term goal? You know, I can only tell you, I've been listening to you all talk about this right after you came back from COVID. You know, this whole idea of ministry expansion onto the mainland. And I know that there were 2 different times it actually came forward. And I think Carl, you and I were talking about it just wasn't the right time. Isn't that how you put it at me? That's not what I put it at. Yeah, it just wasn't the right time. Now, it is, I can tell you, from my knothole, this is the best of times. It's not going to get any easier. So, good question. Back here, who are you? And I think it's right here. Michael's the one. Yeah, put your hand up. And so, Steve.
Dave, how many of the acres are usable on that 20 acres? Is there any wetland acreage?
The realtor said there's 100% usable. We'll find out in the due diligence. But walking back at the end of the property, I'm not a professional in that area, but I don't see any wetland issue. So a lot of the properties that we looked at have a wetland issue, which is prohibitive. But this one looks very good.
Yeah. Ironically, it's adjoining a 50-acre parcel that is being sold by the same farm. Well, I'm calling them affectionately Mr. and Mrs. Schmidt. I doubt it's their names. But that 50-acre parcel, if you just look online, you cannot help. Some of it is wetland toward the east.
Yeah, the very back butts right up to, wetland, low country type swamp, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But that's not our property. That's
no. That's going to be
the 50-acre piece.
That's going to be built on by the county. The county is planning to build something on that 50 acres adjoining. All right. Other questions? Yes. Let's bring it up here. Tell us who you are. Give them the mic, please.
Yeah, I'm Roger. The one concern I have is the traffic that currently exists on 170 and what the prospects are for traffic control from this location. Where is the nearest traffic light?
So, do you want to deal with that, Dave?
No, go ahead.
You got it. You've walked it. I actually, can you believe this guy? You know, he's not just one of those CFOs that sits in the office. He actually went out there and tromped the property. I finally found it. So,
There's a traffic light right there. It's a matter of programming. You know, there's no traffic coming from that direction right now. But there's a school, there's other businesses across the street. So there is a light there.
yeah.
It depends upon where we have our entrance and exit, basically.
Yeah, but it is on a street that does have a light getting on, which is, by the way, that is a big advantage when you go into dealing with the county. There was another question over here. Well, why don't you take the one right behind you? That way you don't have to walk so far. Who are you? And
hi, I'm Courtney Ford. I was wondering, is the LCMS at all funding any of this, or is this all 100% our church?
So that's a great question. Undoubtedly, all this is like, what is all this? Well, if you're asking, are they going to pay for our land or the building on which we're going to put there, the answer would be unequivocally no. They never have. Actually, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod has never done that. What they have done is they pay for the resources that are here helping us at no cost. If we were to have to deal with these consulting resources out there, businesses have to pay top dollar. They also, and I'd rather you not take this to the bank yet, but they approached us. They have, our church body has, it's called a New Start grant. It's for $80,000. They approached us. The leadership of the district has said, we will help you fill out the application. And there's a very good chance that we will get a New Start grant. They like to fund programs and feed into staffing over the long, you know, give a kind of startup feeding resources. So those are some things that could happen. Mm-hmm. I think some of you heard, I was called to talk to the board of directors. You're starting to get a better picture of that conversation I had with the board of directors. Other questions? Did we have one over here? No. Oh, yes, we did. Yeah. Well, no, that's all right. Your response is good. We're not only taking questions. And besides that, this is the age, we want everybody, all ages. But wouldn't we like to have a little more of that age? What is that age? That's so darn young.
27.
No, what did you say?
Good afternoon, everyone.
27?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've seen them. Afternoon.
Who are you?
We're the Grecos, Emily and Thad, and Ella May's here too. I drive 7 days a week from Ridgeland to Hilton Head. I work on Hilton Head. To Roger's point, on Sundays, the traffic's 20 minutes less at least when I head to Hilton Head. It takes me 40 minutes today. It takes me a good hour when I'm heading Monday through Friday through Saturday. And that's both ways. It's not just off and on. So Sunday traffic heading is not going to be an issue. I'm thinking this property is right next to the Okatee Elementary, if I'm guessing
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So there's a right-hand light you turn, so there's light both directions. It stops. It goes blinking yellow. It goes green. So there's going to be no issue for traffic there.
Are there Blue Angels that you've gotten to know at that
Not
corner?
yet.
Okay.
That's where you come in. It's above my pay grade.
All right. Other questions? We've had a lot of questions about the land. Are there any questions about the lease? Are there questions about the online? Or about the campaign? Yes. Who are you?
I'm Scott. So the campaign, I saw there, a 3-year campaign. What?
3.
The 3
year.
What's the vision for that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's going to, on November 2nd, please make every effort to be there. We will be handing out a Sharing the Joy ministry expansion campaign booklet. It will have on it all of the information Scott spoke of. So whatever I say today, you'll be able to see it in print on the 2nd. But in essence, the work has already been going on. In case we've had a few people ask, you mean the campaign would be like financial commitments above and beyond our regular offering? Yes. The worst thing you can do is take from Peter and pay Paul. We will sink ourselves. It cannot happen. It would be better to not make a financial campaign commitment. And by the way, there are 2 other very important commitments that you can make. But before I get to those other 2 commitments, could I just put some mantra into your ears? Are you ready to echo this, please? All right, first one, every gift counts. So every gift, you mean a gift of like $300, $100 a year, does that count? Yes. Because every gift counts. All right, you hear that, youngins? No, I mean this. Sam, have I not talked to you about this? Because every gift counts. Every giver matters. Say it. Every giver matters. I mean, we've got to understand, Frankie matters. I mean, the Lord has claimed you in baptism. So does Frankie matter? Because every giver matters. LMA, I doubt she has any, soon she'll have dispensable money, but not right. But every giver matters. And every gift counts. It is unrealistic for us to presume we will have 100% participation. It's just not realistic. But if we understand every gift counts, every giver matters, it should give all of us a sense that there's no guilt here. We are not going to. So help me. If you hear of anyone who feels guilt because we are inducing guilt, you come to me personally. We are not going to do it because we truly believe it's on the heart of the Lord to work with us so that we can be cheerful givers. And all of us are in different places. And all of us can consider different ways. In fact, we're talking about how some of us might do like a tag team. Hey, we're going to do some now and some in our estate. And that's great too. All of that. Oh, we're getting more, quite a couple of questions here. So hang with me. Every gift counts, every giver matters. But there are 2 other ways that people can make commitments that may be more important over the long haul. Are you aware of this? The other 2 ways. You'll hear about one of them today when Greg Bestie comes up here and Kathy and talk to you about the prayer ministry and the new initiative we're calling 210. You know, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. I'll be preaching on that. I want you to think about the invitation you and I have to be in prayer. And by the way, a praying church is a mighty church. A praying church, God will do things that we can't even begin to predict. And so people have the chance to say, I'm in, I'm praying. There's also going to be the invite, because sharing the joy means inviting people to share the joy. It's, look, I embarrassed them before when I was talking to them. Courtney is out there handing out cards to people to come to our men's gathering. He's heard that the speaker is strong. It's a great gathering, fellowship. Invite. I'm just going to invite. I'm not telling you how many I'm going to invite. I'm not telling you if they're going to come, but I'm just telling you I'm committed to inviting people. Because we did this mission plan off of the notion that the people that live out there, it's going to be in your backyard, for goodness sake. And you'll have the privilege of saying, hey, you don't have to drive all the way across that bridge. You can come right over here and be a part of our family right here, wherever that here ends up being. So those 3 commitments are going to be a part of the campaign. The goal, you know, quite candidly, the consultant said 6 to 8. That's million. 6 to 8 million. We've got a pyramid of what it takes to get there. Frankly, I've done this 7 times before. I wouldn't even begin to predict. I have no idea. It's in the Lord's hands. But I do know my wife and I have already started talking. We've been in prayer. I hope you are too. And we'll just let it unfold. All right, so hopefully does that, Scott, give you a little picture of what it's going to be like over the next 3 months and then beyond? Question from Ed. Oh, we've got, first of all, first question came in. Oh, Ed and Andrea Ruddick. Isn't that cool? Hey, everybody say, hi, Ed. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, Ed.
So, good morning, Pastor. With the lease of the high school, would church services be offered there or a different community service? If church services, do we have staff in place to start? How soon do we expect services to be available? Does that sound like somebody that's ready to go? The staff began working on this this summer when we went away. Did we not, staff?
Even before, Pastor Andy and I visited there end of August.
Yeah. And we, talking about staff allocation, have been talking about this for months and months. So let me be real clear. We're blessed. Do you realize we have 2 organists? They're both gifted. They're beautiful people. Do you realize I would call that we have 2 instrumentalists that either one could lead worship? Do you know who those are? Beyond the organist? Steve and Jeff. Jeff, Steve, we've got those 2. We have vocalists who are coming forward. We need more. We'd love for you to consider. We have 3 pastors who have all said, I want to preach every Sunday. Kind of hard right now. But the fact of the matter is, we called a ministry expansion pastor with the intent. And the plan would be, so we're clear, the 3 of us would rotate. That Paul and Andy and I would rotate in between the 2 sites. Don't assume that this is, we got a sense of this. We're going to follow our favorite pastor. Give it up. We're going to shake it up. We're going to mess with your brains. So you'll be driving and then driving all the way across the bridge again. One of the harder questions I have, and I will tell you this, is more the issue of time. Because this place fills up for discipleship hour. So at the present point, I am thinking, though this is possibly going to change, we will have 8:30 worship here and discipleship hour. Those of you that attend 11, you have an advocate already here who's gone out ahead of you, who has said, what about the 11 o'clock attendees? What I need to hear from you is, are you going to be here? Or are you going to go over there? You live over there, you live over there, you live over there. Are you going to be here? Because if you're going to be here, the 80% of our churches in the Missouri Synod have less than 50 people in worship. 80%. 90% have less than 100. So don't you think we could provide an 11 o'clock service for a smaller group and let it grow? That's one of the possibilities. So over there, we're going to start, that's been decided. 1 service, 1 discipleship hour, and children's ministry. So that's what we're going to do over there. All right, hopefully this helped Ed and Andrea. When we've got to get into, we cannot assume this is a done deal. You can give Dave again and Andy big old kudos. They have been working. Did you all know that this is called the Low Country? Do you know what else it's called? The Slow. You go up to Todd and Christy Stewart, and you give Todd a big old attaboy. That guy has been trying to grease the skids for us. He is the athletic director at Bluffton High School. And so we expect to have the financials within the next week. So, all right. Other questions? We have one over here.
You answered.
I did. I would expect somewhere, if I were a betting man, I would think it's going to be somewhere January, February. Okay, yes, over here.
Keturah here. And we probably already answered the question, but I didn't hear it. As we want to move forward, will we be able to use the location of the high school location to start services while we're waiting to build?
We're looking at we're talking about what time of length did they get, we're talking about?
You're talking about the lease?
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably January, February.
And they're offering us possibly...
It would be every Sunday only. And there's another group that rents once a quarter, so we would have to go find another place during that time. But we haven't received the financial numbers. They've made a commitment that another church has tried to get in there, and they've said no, they have someone else, which is us. So, and Pastor Andy's been following through with that. But we don't want to bother them too much. We're dealing with the Beaufort County School Board and the school superintendent. So we have to have patience.
And be polite if you
and
send
pray.
them notes. And pray. They're offering us a one-year contract. And then it would be renewed every year. Any other questions about the lease? About the online? Do you realize we have four Bible studies online right now that people from around the country, some that are outside of the country, are participating online? I just want you to help me thank God for that, because that is unheard of in our church body. So you may have questions after this. Your board is ready and available for you to reach out to them. I, and then the staff by extension, are ready and available. I'm going to say it. This is like the best of times. But it also feels like and I talked to Kevin directly about this. And I want you to commit with me. We are going to understand ministry expansion starts here. Ministry expansion is shown on how we treat each other in the family. We're going to love and care for Kevin and Holly and their family, and we're going to commit ourselves to all the dynamics of ministry expansion. And I flippantly said to one of you, I didn't sign up for this. And one of you politely said, yeah, but that's what God called you to. Are you willing to own that too? And God who calls us is faithful. The God who sends His Spirit hears our prayers, led by the Spirit. How can we best position ourselves to transform as many lives as possible for Christ? And that includes Leo and Oliver, Holly, and Kevin, and all their loved ones, right? So feel free to reach out, and we'll lean into each other and lean on the Lord as we go through this. Mr. Chair, Mr. Director.
Thank you for attending. Greg, would you send us on our way?
We're just going to talk briefly about one of the new initiatives. On your table is a sign-up sheet called 210 Text Sign-Up. Do you want to share about that?
Well, we know that the heart of this ministry campaign is going to be prayer. And we want everybody to be involved in that. This is one way we can do it, and it's one way we can get as many people as possible signed up. If you text, if you're open to that, we're going to have a blank group text go out to whoever signs up every single day of the week at 2:10 p.m. in the afternoon.
Aren't you glad it's not 2:10 a.m.?
We've tried it just by setting an alarm on our phone. It's just a great reminder just to pray for this ministry. So I think it's a cool thing. I think you'll enjoy it. And it will have a suggested topic to pray for each day of the week. It'll just give you something to pray for. It only takes a minute. But it's just a great reminder. We'd love to have you all sign up. But we need your permission to do it. So if you sign up, we'll get you set up. And it's going to start on November 3rd.
Yeah, the text messages won't start until November 3rd, you'll be seeing this sign-up sheet at the front in the narthex. You'll see it available online if you want to sign up online. Again, it's with your permission, we will send you a text. You're not going to get blanketed by a text unless you have signed up for it. We will also be doing other prayer ministry aspects throughout the campaign, so you'll be seeing some other things on that. And if there's nothing else, I'll close. Or Jim?
Just one last thing.
Microphone.
Microphone, hold on, but there's online people here, so.
Well, but the online people are not going to get to take any lasagna home with them. I didn't want them to feel bad.
Oh, yeah.
So they're packing up some lasagna for you to take home. I don't know how much, but first come, first serve.
And can we once again thank Fred and Lonnie for a great job, for Karen Meyer, and wow, what a great thing. Yeah. So you're leading us off in prayer?
I'm going to lead us off. And this, just a reminder, all prayers are great. You know, whether it's short, whether it's simple, it doesn't have to be eloquent. A simple prayer is great. And for example, today, let us pray. Lord, we thank you for guiding us to this point as a church family. Your Holy Spirit is truly among us. As we move forward, let us continue to remember you and your plan for our ministry expansion. Inspire each member of our church family to pray for each other and our community. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.